Hello and welcome back to the channel. As you can see from the title, the description, everything down below the video, today's going to be a bit of an interesting one because today we're going to be taking a look at the Microsoft Surface Duo. So why are you seeing this video on this channel today as opposed to the hundreds of other videos you've seen about it up to this point? I ordered this. I went out of pocket for this, $13.99 from Microsoft directly. They also have a trade-in program, so I might be able to get a little bit of money by trading in a device toward this. But so far, the videos that I've seen about this device fall into three categories. One, you've got the initial unboxing where they were not allowed to show you what was running on the device. They weren't allowed to show you the whole setup or anything. Two, you have that final review, that fully polished, the one that matches all the guidelines that they have to meet, which doesn't necessarily show you the full process. And three, you've got the in-person where someone went into a Best Buy and they recorded the screen of the device after it had been touched by 20, 30, 50, 1,000 people. So it could be kind of up or kind of down. So today I thought we'd give kind of the full unbiased, open it up from the get-go, take a look at what comes in it, walk through the setup, all the things I traditionally would do for the Surface Duo. As you can see here from the side of the box, covering up all the relevant barcodes and serial numbers and everything, this is the Surface Duo with a Qualcomm Snapdragon, 128 gigs of storage, 6 gigs of RAM, and then it's the Glacier version because that's what they had to offer. On the back it mentions that inside of this you're going to get the Surface Duo, the power supply, the bumper, support for LTE Advanced Pro, and Android 10. So hopefully there'll be an update to Android 11 coming eventually. In case you're not familiar with it, if you haven't watched all the other hundreds of videos about it, this is Microsoft's effort at making a dual screen Android device that flips open like a book, but also has that full 360-degree hinge so it can open all the way up, and it's a phone. I thought it sounded cool. $1,400 is a little steep, but we'll get to that later. So inside of the box, been rambling for 4 minutes, that's entirely too much. So here on top is the Surface Duo, wrapped in its own plastic. We'll come back to that. You have the Surface Duo bumper, specifically designed to protect your device. And some instructions for attaching the Surface Duo bumper. Mentions peeling the label, attaching the bumper, and removing the other labels. One thing I did just see about this before unboxing this, as you can see from the inside, there are blue stickies, and you have to remove those because this does not stay in place otherwise. You put it on, it'll fall right off. It has to stick and adhere, and a part of that is that it actually covers the SIM card tray. So this is a single-use item, meaning if you attach this to the device and take it back off because you want to change your SIM, you're out of luck. You have to buy a new one, and they're going to be $40 when they're available. That's a little ridiculous, so I probably will not use this. I don't know who would. I saw that OtterBox is actually making a folio case for this, so maybe that would be a better option. It's going to be like $70, but at least you could take it off and put it back on. We may try it just to put it on and see if it falls off, but I'm not going to sticky it on because I don't want to waste it. We've got a box with what appears to be documentation. So the SIM ejector tool, Microsoft Surface Duo docks. This would appear to be the USB cable. Correct, USB-C to USB-C. And then I would assume the power brick. And again, correct, USB-C. And as you can hopefully see on here, this is an 18-watt 9 volt at 2 amp or 5 volt at 3 amp output. So this is going to be kind of a very specific amount of power that's required. You may not be able to charge this using just a standard 5 volt 2 amp or 5 volt 1.5 amp or whatever. At the same time, it's USB-C, so as long as it puts out enough power, it should charge it. We'll test that. But finally, let's go ahead and remove the plastic. So here is the Surface Duo. Fold it open halfway, fold it open all the way. The hinge feels sturdy. The weight feels weighty, if that makes any sense. It feels solidly built. I see here on the side, it looks like a power button and a volume rocker, and I believe this would be the Fingerprint Reader. Here's the SIM card tray. Flipping it on over. USB-C port, not centered, which is a little bit odd to me. You have the hinge on the back, and as you can see, solid metal hinge, feels pretty well put together. Nothing on the other side. Open it up. Here you can see the earpiece, the camera, and the flash, and you can actually kind of see just how big the bezel is going to be, top and bottom on each side. But let's go ahead and get it laid flat, powered on, just see how long it takes to come up. I've started a stopwatch just because I'm curious, but we do have the Windows logo there, powered by Android. So that was less than 15 seconds. We're at the setup screen. Let's get started and set up the Surface Duo. Internet connection, I've got to add my Wi-Fi network because I don't have a SIM in here yet. Select the Wi-Fi network and then provide my password and connect. And the screen's a little bright, so I had to adjust the camera, so now my hands look really dark. But we are connected. And actually, I may be able to just drop the brightness of the screen to compensate. And actually, as you can see here, it says your phone needs to download and update and restart. So it's 259 megabytes right out of the box. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Interestingly enough, it jumped over to the other side. Now it says the update is 272 megabytes. So this little thing here feels a little disconnected at the moment, but it looks like if I swipe down on this side, I should be able to continue just looking through some of the system settings and whatnot. So we've got wireless and Bluetooth settings, do not disturb, the flashlight, which again turns on this flashlight because that's the only one. Auto rotate on or off, battery saver, airplane mode, mobile data because we don't have a SIM installed is not available. And then link to Windows. So if I have a Windows device, I should be able to link this to it. Might try that eventually as well. And let's see, if I hit the settings button, presumably because we're in the process of doing the updates, it's not going to let me do anything else. So we'll let that finish and come back, I suppose. And a few minutes later, we're back. You can see here it says, hello, let's get started. Setting up the mobile network, insert one if you've got one. And during that downtime, I actually did go ahead and grab one out of my other phone. Actually, just for the sake of comparison, this is the Samsung S20. So just putting them side by side, you can kind of see just how thin this is. Obviously, if you close the Surface Duo up, it's going to be a little bit thicker, but each individual side, just look how thin that is. That's ridiculous. But now I should be able to just pop the SIM tray out, put my SIM in place, and pop it back in. And apparently while I was doing that, it moved on over to set internet connection. So we're going to hit next on that, checking for updates again. Hopefully that last one was all it's going to need for now. Bring in your data from the cloud, an Android phone or an iPhone. Let's bring it in from the cloud. I don't know my Gmail password. All right, and we've gone ahead and signed in, getting the account info. Again, it's gone too bright and I can't seem to control the brightness. And I think I'm going to take this first one. Pretty sure that's the S20. I looked the other one up and that is the View 2, which I don't want to restore from. Sure, go ahead and do it. It says it's going to be 1.7 gigs. So out of the box, this is not going to be the pure experience that I would kind of hope that it would be, just because I did choose to sync everything. But this should give you kind of an idea of what it'll be like as an everyday usage device. You got the Google Assistant, voice match, yes, yes, yes. I've already set it up. Talks about backing up and location and diagnostic data, all this setup stuff. Licensing, sign in with Microsoft. So presumably I'll have to give my Microsoft account here as well. Finally figured out my Microsoft password. Got privacy settings here. Use your location for local weather. Yes, I would like to do that. Back up your photos. No, I don't want to use OneDrive. Contacts in sync with Outlook. No, thank you. And set a PIN. One thing I've noticed about this whole process to now is that it's not using the second screen for much of anything. Anyway, it says place your thumb or index finger on the fingerprint reader. So we'll do that. Place it down a few more times. We'll add another one. I'm not applying any pressure, I'm just barely touching, but that did take quite a few times. Am I finally going to get to the point where I can use the device? So a quick walk through, go to your home screen, swipe up from the bottom. When it's in landscape, swipe left. To go back, swipe from the edge toward the middle. To go back would be like this or like that. See your open apps, swipe up, pause, then let go. Move between screens by swiping up and dragging. Maximize, swipe up, and then move to the middle, and you're all set. Now again, obviously this is going to be a little bit different because this is pulling down data from my previous phone. It just dinged, so apparently I got a notification. It says that Google location history is turned on. So when I swipe up from the bottom, you can see the apps that are installed in an app drawer. See if I do it from this side, same thing. If I open the camera, it opens on this side. Get started with some quick tips. Take a picture, fold it and take a picture. Flip to change views, capture and review, maximize the camera app and see your selfies as you take them. So if I want to maximize it, I would just drag it and put it here. That didn't work. Try again. Seems like it's having some trouble here. So if I pull it up and take it over this way, now that I've taken a photo, nope. There we go. It took a few tries, but as you can see, I've got the camera on this side and I've got what I've just taken on this side. So if I click on that, this is the photo I just took. Take a quick one of myself. You can see it popped up over here. See if I can get back to that very quickly. Yeah, that went. So now that I've gone through the setup process and that initial update process, I am noticing the backside, the part that doesn't have the logo on it, is getting a little warm to the touch. Obviously that's going to be because it's doing a lot, it's downloading and everything. Without meaning to, I actually just used the fingerprint reader to unlock it. Let's see how that works. So it wasn't fast to come up, but the response of actually using the fingerprint reader is really fast. So I just barely touch it, it wakes up, comes on. Whereas if I just wake the device up by pressing the power button and swiping, it asks for a fingerprint or a PIN. There you go. And then I should be able to fold it in half. This screen is now the primary. The back screen is turned off. It did say something about double tap to switch screens, so I should be able to double tap. That one's now the primary, switch back. There we go. And it looks like there are some dual screen apps that have already been set up for me. So if I go ahead and let's pick the Discover tab. So that opened my YouTube on one side and Microsoft News on the other. If I swipe up, that one goes away. Swipe up, this one doesn't go away. Let's pick something else. How about Learn? So this is opening OneNote, and that's opening, I don't know what that app is, another Microsoft app. It says browse on both screens. This is Edge, okay. And I think I'm actually gonna have to give this a little bit of time and spend a little bit of time with it before I go forward with the video, because the performance is just not good right now. Again, it's synchronizing, it's installing a bunch of applications, so I'm gonna give it some time and let it settle down, and then I'll follow up with this later. And we're back several hours later because I ran out of time earlier. But I have used this quite a bit this evening. I did give it some time to charge up earlier. I did attach it to a different charger earlier just to see if it would charge. It did charge successfully and quickly. It's a power delivery charger. I think it's actually 60 watts, so it's significantly more powerful than this little one. But I thought it would be a good time to sort of wrap up with just some early thoughts and impressions after having used this for a few hours. First, and this is a relatively minor thing, as you probably can't see from this angle, this is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. I'm not even going to be able to show it on camera, except in the Windows logo here in the middle, you can see tons and tons of fingerprints. Imagine that, but over the entirety of the surface. It's completely coated in fingerprints. Luckily, it's white, and even though it is glossy, it's not super high gloss. It's kind of a weird in-between, so I can see it, but it's not that bad. Another item to definitely mention, that Fingerprint Reader, absolutely awesome. It has worked very well every time I've used it. I handed this to my wife earlier, and her immediate reaction was, "Ooh, that feels nice. Now, once I do this, am I gonna break it? Is it meant to open?" And I said, "Yes, just keep going." And she just kept going. She's like, "It's not breaking," because she's not seen any of the marketing materials around this. But yes, very clearly, it's meant to open all the way up like that. It closes it back just fine, which does kind of lead to another thought about it. I guess this is kind of a good, kind of a bad. When it's closed, you don't know what's going on. You don't know if you've gotten a notification other than if it makes a sound or if it buzzes. There's no LEDs or anything on the outside. There's no screen on the outside, unlike the Samsung folding devices, which do have screens on all of the outside. And even the Motorola Razr has a screen on the outside. That said, if it did have a screen, it would ruin the aesthetic. I'm sure it would hurt the battery life significantly, and it definitely would not be able to be as thin as it is. Another item to mention, the camera. I don't think I did a proper camera test earlier, and I probably should have. In this lighting, I don't even think I mentioned it earlier, but looking in the camera app, if I go into the video settings, come in here, you see video, 4K, 60 frames per second, H.265 HEVC, or you can do H.264 AVC. It says it has video stabilization and HDR video, and of course for the photo mode, it is an 11 megapixel sensor, so you're gonna get 11 megapixels max, which is a little bit limited. But I guess let's do just a quick video sample if I can get it moved over to my machine. And here's a quick video test of the Surface Duo. This is 4K, 60 frames per second video, and it's only got one camera on it, so I can't say it's the front facing or the rear facing because it is what it is. Looking at the monitor, which is the screen, which is the monitor, which is everything, it looks very good on there. I'll have to transfer it over to my much larger screen to see just how it compares. But there you go, 4K 60 footage coming straight out of the Surface Duo. And because this looked really shaky before and I had the video stabilization turned on, this is 4K 60 with the video stabilization and the HDR off. Also in H.265, because as I was editing this video, I noticed that I looked really red. On the screen, I look skin tone, but in the video editing back there, it didn't look that. It looked very, very red. I haven't actually taken this outside to test any of the footage in outdoors in good sunlight or anything. Of course, I'll do that another day, and maybe that'll be another video, or, oh buddy, I moved it around and it's freaking out. So that actually comes to my one sort of major issue that I have with this device so far. It's the software. And obviously you're not seeing anything here because I just pulled everything out and closed it all down. But the software, and specifically the software when it comes to the rotation, is just not great. Thankfully, that's something that can be fixed with updates. Hopefully Microsoft does continue to update this and they provide some fixes for these problems. But just as an example, let's just open YouTube. I know this is not Microsoft's fault or anything, but it does heavily weigh on the fact that it's the accelerometer in this that's causing issues. So I'll actually just open one of my own videos. So okay, here on the left you can see I've got the app running. So logically, if I hit the button here, it goes full screen. If I turn it sideways, nothing happens. But I've got the device held flat here. In theory, if I fold it in half like this, you would think that it would turn sideways, but it's not. If I hold it up like this, you can see it's back to normal. I didn't touch anything. It just left the full screen. If If I go back up and then tilt it, I'm kind of watching what I'm doing. It's not doing anything. If I lay it flat and do the same thing, hey, look, it did it. Then I fold it in half. Okay, it's staying there sometimes. And it's hard to demonstrate because it is so kind of weird and quirky. I want this to be great. I want this to work really well. And so far, it's just been kind of a mixed bag. Trying to watch a YouTube video. Again, it's the YouTube app is part of the problem. The Surface Duo is the other part of the problem. I've gotten to the point now where I'm not able to swipe up. Everything's locked up because it was freaking out trying to figure out what, and it's gone. Again, it's really hard to show these problems, but there are problems. OneNote, for example, it connected to my account automatically, my Microsoft account. If I open OneNote now, it goes away. It's gone. Try it again. OneNote encountered an error. Okay, reset OneNote. I've done this 5 times. Every single time it comes up eventually. Capture. Okay, let's get started. Takes some time. It finds my notebook. If I hit the drop down, it can actually find my other notebooks, but I'm not going to do that at the moment. If I leave the app and then come back in, it worked that time. If I quit the app entirely, and just to kind of show that process there, if I swipe up and hold, you see all the apps I've got running. I hit close all, we'll reopen OneNote. And OneNote keeps stopping. App info, close app. Try it again. OneNote keeps stopping. That may take a reinstall, it may be a problem with the app, but for something that came pre-installed, that by simply signing into it is causing me problems, ouch. The app grouping, as you can see here, I've made an app group. If I click on that, I've got on one side the calendar, on the other side the to-do list. I just put in one simple to-do item. Sometimes these work really well, sometimes they kind of lock up and stop working. If I pick one like plan, okay, there's my to-do list, there's my Outlook, which I haven't signed into yet. So, I swiped slightly wrong, so it moved it from one screen to the other. Swipe up and it'll go away again. Sometimes. Again, software updates are needed. The UI gets a little bit non-responsive and I wasn't even touching it and it went to this screen. This screen is where you can go and add new widgets. You can change your wallpaper. You can add or remove home screens. You can set which is your home screen. And it just completely freaked out over not actually touching it. It looks like I've been going on for another 12 minutes. I've filmed a total of like 40 minutes for this video already. So very early impressions, very early thoughts. The hardware feels amazing. The camera, not good. The 4K 60 video looks okay, but actually taking shots with it, it's very slow to take pictures. And getting the camera to switch between sides is just not as easy as they make it out in all of the videos and everything. So like right now it's on this side. If I want to get this to go to the other side, they say that I should aim it down. Okay, that worked that time. So now I actually have a camera that I can use. But again, just taking photos. We'll get an object to take a photo of here. There we go. That took... You can see how long this is. This is several seconds. Software fix. Software can fix this. And actually putting the Google camera app on it might help. There's a portrait mode, there's a panorama, there's a slow-mo, there's more things to do in this camera app. I just haven't explored it yet. And again, my complaints with it, most of them could be solved with software. The one thing that can't be solved is the fact that you're using a front-facing camera as the primary camera, and that kind of stinks. Another sort of minor weird thing, just to throw it out there, if I click on the flashlight, it's on the front. You know that, you could see that when you're closing it. It doesn't have a camera on the outside, it doesn't have a light on the outside. But the flashlight, the one and only flashlight on the device, which you can even do from the home screen here, is the front of the device. So super weird. So to round it up, to wrap it up, $1,400 for this. $1,500 if you go for the one with more storage, which I did not. For a piece of hardware that feels great, for a camera that's really lacking, for a software experience that is less than good. Of those things, the one real problem there, the software they can totally fix. And I've said that a few times now, so I look forward to the software getting better over time. Maybe I'll do a 1-month follow-up on this, or a 3-month, or a 6-month, or both, or all. Let me know what you'd like to see about this from a relatively average everyday person, and I'll let you know. But that's where I'm gonna wrap the video up for today. I'll put some links to where you can find this if you wanna check it out. I've heard that it's actually really hard to come by. Places are selling out of it for some reason. I look forward to spending more time with it, and I look forward to software updates. Links, again, can be found down below. Thanks so much to you guys for watching. If you haven't already and you'd like to, subscribe to the channel so you get notified when new videos come out. Hit the notification bell to actually get notified. Hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, and I'll see you again in the next one.